you're not going to have it all figured out at 20, 25, 27, and you're still really not going to have it figured out at 35, 37, 50. But if you take the mindset that things are going to change, you're okay with change, and you're going towards a goal, but then it's going to kind of zigzag a lot, that's okay. Because I think that one of the bigger things that we do is we set an expectation that we got to be here, but it really never, it's never that straight line, you know?
Well, and it's life is a giant experience.
Yeah.
And so when it's learning the lessons and the values you learn from those lessons versus poor me, this has happened to me, this is why my life is the way it is. And this goes along with every single episode we've talked about as far as self-growth, visualization of what you want. And being in the 20s is your kind of full maturity as a human being too, as far as biologically.
Yeah.
So you get around 25, the brain's fully developed, the bones, the structure's fully developed.
I felt a whole lot different at 25.
Oh, you slip and fall when you're 25, 26. You don't bounce.
Well, no, I'm talking about like my brain. My brain, like I went from being very emotional. I'm not saying I wasn't emotional afterwards, but like very emotional to like 25 and a half. I was like, now this doesn't happen for everybody, but it was for me. I was like, goodness gracious, this is a whole different ball game here. I didn't worry about the things that I used to worry about. I just wasn't quite as concerned with a lot of the small things anymore. And that's my experience. I'm sure it happens with everybody at different stages, but goodness gracious, it was a whole lot different from 24, 0.9 to 25 for me. I just went, wow, I can actually think some things through.
It almost felt like the day you turned 25, your brain, your frontal lobe was finally like fully fused. Okay, that's not a good idea to do that this time.
You're like, maybe we won't go down to Ballpark Village this weekend.
Yeah.
You're like, maybe we'll just kind of take it easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that exam in 2 weeks, I should probably start preparing for.
probably start looking into a couple of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of a feeling too of you get confidence along those lines too. You know that, okay, this decision led to this last time. I'm going to try this way, and it works out better for you. Every decision you make that makes a positive change in your life, it's a small little win to get that confidence. And that's your 20s is all about building yourself, building your confidence, loving yourself.
Yep.
So that you can prepare for the rest of your life to dedicate to others.
But it's hard though. It's hard to love yourself in your 20s because you're going through so many lessons. So you graduate high school, and what I remember, it's been a whole lot longer than what I thought it was. We talked about this yesterday. We're like, man, it does seem like yesterday, but it was a while back. But what I remember is, man, you're like flying high. Boom, you graduate, and people are like, yeah, that's awesome. But man, it almost felt like a letdown because, man, you're starting all over again. And then you go into like figuring more things out, but with the figuring the things out, you're going through so many successes and failures that, like you're talking about, you're really starting to have to figure out who you are and how to manage yourself, because obviously the successes are awesome. I mean, that doesn't bring your day down at all, but there's more failures. And so when those failures comes, you're like, goodness gracious, am I doing the right thing? Am I going? So college or working, whatever it is, am I doing the right thing? And then you throw in the emotional component of, usually in your 20s, you're dating, you're getting pecked. I really like this girl. Oh, we dated for a couple. No, she doesn't like me. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, oh no. So then you get hit again. And so in your 20s, you're really just you're just getting hit a lot and trying to figure it. So like I was saying, it is sometimes it is tough to go, hey, I love myself for who I am.
Yeah, because there's a love for the ego, and then there's a love for your personal self growth. And especially we can relate to being males. And I would probably like to think that a majority of the problem in that, from 18, well, really, you get into the puberty ages, but especially 18 to 22, there is just a lot of ego there.
Lots of ego.
And it's natural. If you really think back to times when, young men were developed to go to the military.
Yep.
At 18, and it's that, okay, I got my fight, and then let me puff out my chest and show everybody how tough I am. And I think that's a lot of battles and struggles with and again, we can relate because we are males, and
Yep.
but it is a duty as a male. You have a responsibility to make yourself the best man you can be, so that that we can have better men and leaders in the world. And that's for all, men and women. And
Yep.
and again, we're just talking because we know the mindset of dudes.
Yep.
And how we think. And there's those bro days.
Yeah.
And we had them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's okay. But I look back at my younger selves a lot of time, and man, when you thought you had it all figured out,
No,
we didn't know what we didn't know.
that is true. Boy, I tell you what, when I got out of school, out of chiropractic college, I felt pretty good. And then you go into work and you're like, man, I don't know. I don't know anything. And then you get hit with they always said in high school, well, they're not going to let, in the real world. And you're like, whatever, we'll figure it out. And then you get there and you're like, oh my goodness, it is like that. Like you get knocked down quite a bit. But the great thing is, if you have the right mindset, you're like, okay, hey, how do we get past it? But I know, at least in my 20s, it took a while to get that mindset down, because you are getting knocked down quite a bit.
If it wasn't for getting knocked down and out, I don't think I would have learned the lessons I've learned. And a lot of people could probably say this, but I truly feel there's things in life that I've just I've had to learn the hard way. And I'm grateful for those times, because it taught me, taught myself, what I can take and what I'm willing to sacrifice to get to the true needs that I want in my life. And I know you felt the same way. It's a sacrifice going to grad school. It's a sacrifice going to any extra professional schooling where you have to dedicate more time.
Yep.
But again, that time in your 20s is such an important time to develop as a human being,
mm-hmm.
because like we've talked before, 80 to 100 years, we're still not even guaranteed that. But it really, in the history of time, that's a speck. And if we can and take our 20s, and the problem is too, it's generational. And I remember there was a lot of times, 2008, I was going off to college. It's when the economy went down. And then that's when, YOLO.
You ain't got no money, we just go out there and do it.
YOLO, you only live once. Oh, I could die. And there's some truth to that. You never know when your time is. But it's still living past the weekend.
Yeah.
Planning for your life and developing. You're not missing out on the parties. You're not, like you mentioned with Ballpark Village. And I remember, I'm feeling left out. I'm going to skip studying tonight and go down and have some fun.
We're going to PBR.
Yeah.
Get after it. Let's get after it.
Oh, man. Hey, if the Cardinals are playing, though.
Yeah, we can do that.